Check it out, people. What have we got here? Zest for Life, aka Fresh Smart Sense. The latest one I am. Oh, wow. This was something that I've been waiting for to actually, because I couldn't afford it because it was a little bit high price. I've done it in a PayPal Pay in 3 because, wow, this is something. Well, it's a little bit pricey, but I think it's a mixture of 3 or 4 different perfumes that is actually done really well. It's a versatile perfume by Montale, which is, well, none other than Infinity. Yes, Infinity by Montale. This is something that has aspects of Gourlane Pour Homme Ideal Extreme, which is a cherry, smoky tobacco fragrance, although a little bit more amped up. It has some cardamom for a green, aromatic, spicy, fresh opening, which is very luxurious. So it's very luxurious in this opening. It's very fruity with the plum and cherry note. It also has plum, so not just cherry, but plum. So it goes into its own sort of aura. It actually smells kind of like what the perfume, the Auspicious Dragon, should have smelt like, which was a plum and frankincense and the like fragrance. Sorry, I know this a bit. Yeah, it's pretty much a more masculine version of the Auspicious Dragon by Rituals, which was a limited edition fragrance which had plum, cedarwood, frankincense, and some other notes which were quite interesting, like an ambery note. This has plum, amber, the tobacco from Gourlane, L'Homme Ideal Extreme, they have long titles. The tobacco and cherry mix. It has that fresh opening, and yet it still has an oud note. So I wanted something that was versatile with oud, that was smoky and has a rich opening, but maybe some fruitiness or something. Just because I'm very spoiled, I wanted something very I wanted very unique fragrance, something that somebody else isn't going to wear or hasn't smelled anything like it. Oh, this comes in a velvet bag, a little bit more niche. That one has a special navy blue velvet pouch rather than the slick other ones. Okay, so let's take this out. Oh, I can smell it from the top actually. Smell it from the top of the can. Let's check this out. Spray it at the front. Montale Infinity is fantastic. This is. It looks like a mosque mosaic, really. A sort of Islamic sort of geographical. Oh, sorry. Not geographical. Geometric design. Sorry, that's terrible. So that made me sound ignorant. Very ignorant. Let's just carry on. Wow. So almost a jammy kind of rose is coming on, and then that's taken over by saffron, cardamom, plum. It's quite overpowering in the beginning, but that's because the plum, cardamom, and cherry now, and saffron is really fighting for top position. So a lot of people get confused at this stage and say, wow, this perfume is just a melange. I've seen that on Fragrantica. I don't really pay attention to reviews that are only going to be from people who spray the fragrance and on the first few seconds judge it forever, because as we know, perfumes have a top heart note and a base note, so they need a bit of time. So we've gone through this cherry, saffron, plum stage. The notes are starting to settle, and we're getting sweetness from amber, tobacco. The fruitiness is still there in a jammy, sweet way, but it allows the amber to creep in. So just before the fruit gets very sweet and almost sour with that cherry, the amber creeps in with a little bit of dustiness from the tobacco. Then it still has the outside green aromatic fresh spicy note of cardamom, yet on the inside there is that sweetness of cherry and amber mixing together. Cherry and amber sort of fighting for position. Sometimes the amber's on top with the tobacco. Sometimes the cherry's on top with a bit of plum misting on the outside, which is leading us to this fresh, spicy saffron and cardamom rich outside notes. Oh wow! So I just got choked out by the plum and amber on this. It's pretty. It's pretty intense. Okay, so the dustiness of tobacco is there. Am I going to spray this again to see if it's going to smell like tobacco? No, because I'm just going to get the top notes again. I can smell just the hint of creaminess of white florals, but I remember when I sprayed it on one part of my skin, I smelled a little bit more. I think I've just gone a little bit nose blind and I'm in the middle of the scent, sort of like the eye of the storm. That's what happens when you're nose blind. You're pretty much in the eye of the storm of your own fragrance storm, and that's why you can't smell the outside unless you move around a bit. Let's give that a go. Ooh. Okay, that's my background, but carry on. Alright, so we got a bit of movement. Some sweetness is coming out. It's sweet resinous. It is, oh, it's like a cherry and plum cough sweet at sometimes, in some moments, because the dustiness of tobacco sort of makes it a little bit mentholic. Not mentholic, but it adds a spiciness that almost tricks your nose into thinking it's mentholic. Because the green is airing it to that green aspect. So green, spicy, and then the freshness of the musk with saffron and powdery tobacco in it. So yeah, definitely the tuberose is softening this fragrance. It's not a prominent note, yet it's a heart note. Very strange that it's a heart note, yet it's not prominent. Because that means that the plum. Now I'm smelling tobacco. So it almost took me to get nose blind with cherry and amber to smell the tobacco the second time. Yeah, now I'm getting tobacco, amber, and just a tiny bit of that tuberose. That tuberose isn't really peaking as much as I thought it would. I think I was wearing Black Noir at the same time as wearing the Montale Infinity. So they are pretty similar. Mansira, Black Noir. Black Noir's got a nice iris note, is powdery. This is powdery too. However, this goes in a more plummy cherry direction. Whereas Black Noir has the iris powdery note, is very masculine and goes into more leather. Then this has a leather note. It isn't really pronounced, it's just soft enough to distract us from just plum or just cherry, just to sort of cut in between and create a yo-yo between the let's say between smelling the fruity aspects, the plum and the cherry and the amber and tobacco. So that note in the middle of tuberose and that amber, I'd say tuberose is the middle note because when you smell the tobacco, you smell the amber with it. And when you smell the plum, you smell the cherry. So without going into that for too long, I don't feel like I'm repeating myself. Um, this scent. Oh, now I'm getting some leather. Now I'm getting the leather and the vetiver. So this is very strange, this fragrance. I'm not gonna lie. When I sprayed it on one part of my skin, I smelt the transition from fruity to green to amber to tobacco, and that tuberose kept on just popping up randomly. Now I'm getting a divide between the fruity notes and the amber and tobacco, and tuberose is not to be seen. And the next time I sprayed it, I got the last base notes, which is leather, amber, tobacco, and vetiver, which is the second green note, let's say. The first green note is a fresh, spicy cardamom green note, and the last green note is a vetiver that rounds it back to the sourness of the oud. That reminds us of the sourness of the oud. So the oud is sometimes lost in the middle of this fragrance, and that vetiver allows us to smell it by reminding us in the base notes that the vetiver has a aspect of the sour oud that is there. There's the oud that is slightly green, so it emphasizes the greenery in the oud. This is now smelling like cherry tobacco with saffron and amber. I'm not smelling tuberose. I think tuberose is sort of just a note just to create that yo-yo effect. So we keep on smelling different things, either amber, fruit, or tobacco. I think it's supposed to leave us a little bit confused, bedazzled, and amazed at the same time. This Montale Infinity scent, I think it's all about the scent trail. So you go past somebody and they'd either smell cherry, tobacco, saffron, whatever, depending on who they are and how well their scent receptors actually work. It's a very strange scent, but you're going to smell something when you go past somebody, or they are going to smell something because it's a very strong perfume and it's projecting enough to make me cough in the beginning. So, that being said, big projector, big scent. I mean, stay at home if you're not going to wear it boldly, because you're throwing out fruitiness, you're throwing out amber and tobacco. You've got the whole leather thing going on in the background, and tuberose is just flying in all directions where you can't smell the fruit or tobacco, amber or leather. You will be smelling tuberose, which is almost like a celebration of fragrance, like somebody throwing the tuberose and, I don't know, smoking a big cigar of tobacco and then wearing amber jewelry, and then I don't know, they got saffron laid out on the floor like some kind of, I don't know, Indian wedding on, I don't know, big cigars or something. That's what it seems like it's happening. I don't know where the cherry and plum comes into it. Maybe that's the kind of fruity tobacco smoke that this person's smoking in his cigar, like a fat cigar or something. Um, it's a very celebratory, bodacious fragrance. It's made for winter projection, so that something, so a different scent will be blown in the wind. I get this scent. Um, is it so similar to Black Noir that you wouldn't have to buy it? I don't think so, because not just because I bought both, but because Black Noir is a powdery, clean, formal scent, and this is a bit out there and a bit more polarizing because it throws out so many different types of scents and it can confuse people. Whereas Black Noir would help people think, okay, it's powdery, but at least it's going in an iris leather direction. I can say it's an iris leather scent with clean, powdery, formal notes. Black Noir. Whereas this is a jammy, fruity, amber tobacco scent. So it's not fougere, it's not very green, it's not completely gourmand because, well, it's edible but not the tobacco. But it does have gourmand oriental facets, let's say. It's a gourmand oriental because it has a spicy notes and it has the gourmand notes that you feel are edible, delectable, sumptuous, comforting fragrances for winter. So definitely check out Montale Infinity for something that is bodacious and a trendsetter. So people will be following you when you wear this Central. Oh, this is very nice. Oh, I got oud on that spray. I got oud on that spray. That was completely different. Just got cardamom, plum, and then I smell oud. So you are definitely smelling something different every time. Let me know in the comments section what you think about this perfume because this has blown me away in the way I'm smelling something different every time. Stay free and stay fresh. Pow. Check this one out in Selfridges and Harrods if you can. Stay fresh.